Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. This is the podcast that's dedicated to civilized debate about politics, where we represent both the left and the right. Today, we're going to be talking about disasters and natural disasters. We've had a few, and we're going to talk about some of that and government regulations' role inside that. We're also going to be talking about fascism and comments from Donald Trump and statements from Kamala Harris. So we're going to talk about that and see where we go with there. First, though, I want to say the election is just right around the corner. We may or probably will not have a podcast before then, and so I just want to talk about dialogue. I really like that I can get on with my friend Ryan and we can talk about stuff that's on the opposite side of the aisle because I've already had several political conversations with other people that didn't go well, right? And and I and I appreciate that we can do this because I think people are talking about politics all over the world and it gets pretty nasty pretty quick. And so I appreciate that we can do this kind of stuff. So
I'm just patterning our dialogue off of Kamala and Trump. It's very civilized. It's all above board. It's they're just trying to find common ground.
Fascist.
Speaking of natural disasters, Josh is having one right behind him right now.
Yeah, I know. Or is that like some battle scene? What do we have?
Is that a picture of your house?
Oh, we went there already.
Too soon, Tom. Too soon. No, I live in my in-laws' basement. This room looks ridiculous. Like for a podcast, there's storage totes behind me and stuff. And I tried blurring the background and it looked really weird. So I just pulled up the first picture I could find on my hard drive. There you go. That's what we're dealing with.
Oh, there's ships. I see. Okay.
Oh, you want to see it? It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a battle scene with pirate ships or something. Yeah.
How cool that is.
Very cool.
Nice. Shout out to our sponsor real quick. But I do want to concur, Tom. I love these podcasts. It is a great opportunity for us to just talk politics. And we walk away still friends, right? That's the key, that at the end of the day, the friendship outlasts the fact that we disagree on some things. So anyway, sorry. Had to throw that in.
Lux bidets.
Lux bidets.
Everyone's bideting, staying clean.
All the time. I miss them
every day.
Every time I go on these short little trips. I was in Pittsburgh last weekend for a conference. And it used to be the case that I would go to these conferences, these hotels, and this is kind of a starter home. My bathrooms weren't super nice, so I'd go to the hotels and their bathrooms were nicer than mine. But you know what they've never had? A bidet.
Yeah.
They don't have bidets.
This is crap.
That's why when you're done pooping, if they have a wand, you put your butt in the bathtub and I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Bidets.
That would be gross.
You guys heard of waffle smashing?
No.
What? We're off on bad tangents.
Really, this is going to be a great podcast. What is this one, Tom?
You know how the shower looks like a waffle? The shower drain?
Yeah.
Looks like a waffle pattern. So it's taking a crap in the shower and smashing it.
Oh, jeez.
I saw, and someone
oh my gosh.
it was in a shower, and they had a sign that says "No waffle smashing." I was like,
who's doing this?
Right? You're
my gosh.
You had to put a sign up.
Please tell me that wasn't like an Airbnb. If I get an Airbnb that says that, I'm not using the shower.
I hope you were on a date, Tom. That's what it said in the girls. Can I go use your bathroom? That's what it says in the guest bathroom.
Anyway,
okay,
let's move on. So we're gonna start with FEMA. Let's dive in. Ryan, you want to introduce this and talk about it?
Yeah. So I live in Florida, and I know we talk about Florida way too much, but in this particular instance, the justification for bringing this up is we did have two hurricanes come through. So first was Helene. It skirted where I live in Tampa, but still did massive flooding. So it sent in a 6.5-foot storm surge, flooded a bunch of houses. And then just a couple of weeks later, we got direct hit with Category 3 hurricane. The flooding was mostly south of us from the storm surge, but there was a lot of flooding from the 16 inches of rain that we got in about an 8-hour period.
Jeez.
Which, can you imagine in Utah getting 16 inches of rain in an 8-hour
Yeah.
period? Utah would be
You'd be
devastated,
washed
right?
away.
Yeah. So there was still some flooding, but from a different cause, not a lot of wind damage. All of that's a prelude to say some of the homes on the coast and in kind of low-lying areas were flooded, some up to the roof, right? Like massive flooding. And when they have all of this damage, they of course want to turn to insurance. Now, typical insurance doesn't cover this. You have to have separate insurance called, flood insurance. But even the flood insurance won't necessarily pay out if your house doesn't meet modern building standards. And
Mm.
FEMA, right? So the Federal Emergency Management Organization, whatever it is from the federal government, um, they will also offer assistance, some assistance to help rebuild and things like that. But again, only if you're going to build to a better standard so the flooding is not going to continue. And that's what I wanted to raise, right? So with Helene, 10,000 homes in Pinellas County alone, which is actually not even my county, were flooded or damaged from that one hurricane. And so where this question comes in is like, okay, should the government be dictating where we can and cannot build homes or the standards to which we should be building homes? And then there's a second piece which gets to kind of like the flood insurance that I want to talk about, but we'll come back to that. So that was like the bigger question that I wanted to raise with the two of you, because that's literally what FEMA is doing and what these insurance companies are doing is saying, we're not going to pay for you to rebuild unless you can build to such a standard, putting it up on stilts, building at a higher elevation, whatever it is you have to do. We're not going to let you rebuild unless you can build so you're not going to flood again in the future. Should the government be doing this? This seems like government intervention. And with the two of you and your particular political views, which, some libertarian stuff in there, is this a role of government? What do you think? That's what I wanted to raise. I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Josh.
Uh, I can further complicate it with my own situation, right?
Yep.
My house just burned down, and my house was built in the 80s, so the downstairs windows are really small. They're not up to current fire code. Current code dictates, essentially, it has to the window well has to have a ladder on it, and the window has to be big enough that a firefighter with a backpack on can get in there, right? I don't know if that's like the actual basis of the code, but that's how big they need to be. So when I'm trying to figure out what I'm rebuilding and doing with my house, I had to call the county inspector and ask him, "Are you going to require that these windows be brought up to code?" And it's a long, funny story. His initial email, because he's an engineer, was clear as mud. He told me on the phone, yes, I'm going to require it. And then he sent this email that made no sense whatsoever. And I sent that off to insurance, and they're like, this kind of indicates no, but it's crazy. I mean, engineers, right? But essentially, they're going to force me to upgrade all of these windows, which involves cutting into the concrete and making the windows bigger. It's going to be on the order of about $10,000. Luckily, I have a rider in my insurance policy where insurance has to pay for it, right? And I'm conflicted about this kind of thing. Having been in my basement in the smoke and the flames, it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And to think that my kids could have been down there when that happened, they were luckily upstairs, and I got upstairs and got them out. I love that now I'm going to have windows that you can escape in a fire really easily. At the same time, if I would have had to pay that 10 grand, I would have been kind of pissed. And the insurance company probably should be kind of pissed, right? So I'm trying to add a little nuance to Ryan's point. Back to the hurricane thing and the government allowing you where to build. My take on it is actually kind of simple. If you're going to build somewhere where your home can be damaged, if the insurance company is willing to pay, if you're willing to pay for insurance and they're willing to rebuild your house based off of whatever you're paying them, go for it. Why would the government be involved? The government shouldn't be spending money to rebuild these houses. That's what insurance is for. I don't know why I in Utah am paying, the federal government and FEMA tax money to rebuild houses on a beach in Florida that gets hit by a hurricane every other year. That's crazy. Now, I have a neighbor. He's a rich guy. His house in my neighborhood is just his ski home. He actually lives in Florida most of the time. He has some mansion on the beach there in Florida, and he pays a couple $100,000 a year for flood insurance because he has to rebuild his house every couple of years. Okay, as long as the insurance company's okay with that situation, then the government shouldn't be stepping in saying, no, you can't build on that beach. But it doesn't seem wise or just to me for the government to be stepping in and helping people rebuild their homes when they're building them in places where they're going to be damaged or destroyed every couple of years.
Tom, thoughts?
So I'm a big proponent of like when with working with like attorneys as a risk assessment versus like a yay nay sort of thing. And so my thoughts are like, yeah, if you're living in a flood, I mean, because you have flood zones, right? You have places that are prone to flooding. And I believe if you live in a flood zone, you are required to get flood insurance. I think.
Not entirely. If you have a mortgage. If you don't have a mortgage, you're on
you
your
do
own.
what you want.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the mortgage company that's requiring you to get the
Yep.
That actually makes sense. Now, because like you can, and that's an extra thing, right? Because like you can get for I think a year we had earthquake insurance on our house, and it was expensive. And I've heard that it's actually harder and harder to find insurance companies that offer it here in Utah. But like it's an optional thing, right? And there, if you have an earthquake, and your house gets destroyed, they're not going to pay for that. Um, so it's a but these are risks, right? And um, so I do believe, I think the insurance is doing it. I think it mainly gets done through the insurance, right? The insurance does handle it, and I think right now they're already kind of dealing with this, right? They know if you're in a dangerous prone area, like because like some of the big issues you're having right now is insurance companies are pulling out of California and Florida, and not writing anymore, underwriting any of these places, right? And it's because, and I believe it, the driver is costs and just profitability, and like that which is driving the costs up of the ones that stay. Either way, the price is going to go up, right? If they're having problems, if you're living in places that are having problems, where it's probably going to be much cheaper in Utah because we don't have that many natural disasters. To me, it's equilibrium, right? So it makes it
So
more
let the
expensive to live in
market.
Florida and cheaper to live in
Yeah.
Utah.
So let the market manage it. And I can talk specifics about like insurance. How much do you guys pay for home insurance? If you don't mind me asking.
I have
Like
no
how
idea.
many?
I have no idea. I make the money. My wife spends it. She pays all the bills. I have no idea.
Tom, did you have a sense of how much the home insurance costs? No, no idea.
Mhm.
So my home insurance has basically over the last 4 years more than quadrupled.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
4 or 5 years ago, I was maybe paying $1,000 a year for home insurance. My bill this year that my insurance company sent me before I was like, no, I'm not paying this, was $6,000.
Holy
Annual.
cow.
$6,000 annually for home insurance. And that doesn't include flood, right? So there's no flood insurance on that. I think I actually do have a sinkhole rider, but that's separate, right? So you'd actually have to pay
Wow.
extra for a sinkhole. So I actually called and was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do this, right? Now I happen to be in a position where like I don't have a mortgage, right? So like I can negotiate on these things. So we changed a whole bunch of stuff. My insurance company was actually pretty good and like gave me a couple of things that like we can reduce it here, we can do this, we can do that. So I dropped it down pretty substantially. But can you imagine $6,000? And I'm not in a high risk flood zone. My house has never flooded. So I'm in zone C. Zone A is the highest risk. B is next, and then it goes all the way up to E, and then there's no risk, right? But I'm in zone C. We've never flooded. We live on a pretty sloped street. So it's not like I'm a high risk. I have a brand new roof. My roof is literally 2 years old. That's where a lot of people get hit. And they still upped it to $6,000 a year. Just kind of
Hmm.
insane, right? So coming back to the main issue, I think we probably agree for the most part on this. That if we just let insurance regulate where people can live and how much it's going to cost, right? Then like I kind of agree, but at some level, the government is subsidizing some of this risky living because FEMA does step in and help people.
Mhm.
And my wife and I have this conversation all the time. Why am I subsidizing those rich assholes' homes on the beach? Um, I'm not living on the beach. I don't want to live on the beach, right? I think it's way too risky. And yet they're the ones living on the beach, and the government steps in and helps them rebuild. And some of these people have rebuilt multiple times. So I think are we all just basically in agreement of like the government shouldn't help them rebuild and just let the insurance market take care of it? Or what are your thoughts?
Essentially, I I think there's probably more nuance to it. There probably are areas or cities where you need people working there, right? Um, but without going into the weeds as Ryan is wont to do, yeah, essentially, why are we subsidizing people to live on a fault line in California? California has earthquakes. Like, if you don't want your house to be destroyed, either build it like super strong or build it away from the fault line. And if you want to pay extra for insurance because you love California, cool, good on you. But I don't want to subsidize that. It doesn't make sense. I mean, the government's so broke. We are the poorest country in the world just based off simple math. We owe trillions of dollars. Why are we wasting money on this? It's crazy to me. Now, um, yeah, FEMA should be taking care of people that are in a disaster, and well, that's a whole different subject. Sorry. Go ahead,
Well,
Tom.
maybe, but we can come back to what FEMA I think should be doing, which we can come back to that. Tom, what are thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we're on agreement. And yeah, if you think I can't remember the count, but it's like you look at natural disaster count where California versus Utah or something where there's been a declared state of emergency, right? And like it's like 10x at least where California wildfire, flooding, whatever versus Utah. And
Liberals.
those are probably comparable to that ratio is probably comparable to the insurance differential, right? Of like they're
Yeah.
probably paying a buttload more. Yeah, they might be paying 6,000 as well in California, and we're paying 600 a year, right? It's that's
Well, I'm sure ours has gone up because all of the building materials has skyrocketed, right? What I paid for my house 10 years ago, like I can't, I had to gut my house, but I still have the brick walls and the studs inside, right? Um, what they're paying me to rebuild the interior of my house is way more than I paid for my house. Okay, all the materials have gone. I mean, I got a good deal on my house, but all the materials have gone through the roof, right? So that's part of probably why some of the insurance is going up. General inflation across the board. Um, so it's not just that they're picking on Florida, but yeah, that seems egregious that it's up to $6,000.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Okay, so I do want to come back a little bit to maybe a role that FEMA should have and government potentially should have. So there are some neighborhoods, pockets, right, where 20 years ago, 50 years ago, they were not flooding regularly. Okay. But now you get a high tide and a small storm and they flood. Okay. And some of these are like mobile home parks. Some of these are just neighborhoods. I literally heard a news story, I think it was yesterday, about a woman who bought her home 3 years ago and it's flooded 4 times in those 3 years.
wow.
And she's just given up. She's leaving. She's like, if I walk away from this house, I'll be fine with that because I don't want to live through the flooding anymore. It's just a
Okay,
regular occurrence for her. So, is there a role for the government to
certainly.
step in these situations and just say, you know what, we're going to give you some money to walk away and we're going to make this just like natural habitat at this point. Like we don't want people living here because the flooding's not going to stop. It's
Well,
only going to get worse.
I would even go so far as to say, like, if you build your house on a hill, it's not a flood zone, and for some reason it floods. Okay, that's not foreseeable.
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't have insurance for that. If you live in a desert and your house floods, okay, that's where FEMA should be stepping in these crazy situations. but you shouldn't be rewarding people for there's a subdivision over here in Peterson. Okay, you guys have driven past it a billion times. There are now multi-million-dollar homes, probably 50 of them down in this on this field. I've seen that field under 4 feet of water twice in my life. Under 4 feet of water, and now there's homes everywhere. Okay, cool. If that's where you guys want to build, it's really pretty down there. But I don't want to pay for that because you know it's a freaking floodplain. Go ask any of your neighbors, right? That's where I draw the line. But when you have an actual disaster and it's not foreseeable, if a volcano shoots out here in Utah and it starts burning our houses, okay, FEMA should step in. That's not really foreseeable, right? Yeah. Tom?
I think so. You've got government is no stranger to designating areas for landmarks and national parks, things like that, right? It's like 90+% of Nevada is claimed by the federal government. So there's certainly precedence for it, but this is sort of like from our safety standpoint. I don't see any wrong thing. It makes sense to me as long as they are being extremely judicious with it, right? It's like, Miami is now an off-limit zone. Sorry, everybody. It's like, they'd have to, yeah. I could see that getting really political really fast, right? Or something like that. So, yeah, I think you just want to be super judicial and just be like, have the data to back it up to be like, hey, it just doesn't make sense for us to be building or even residing in this area.
Yeah, that it's just time to leave. And they've actually done this. There was a barrier island in Louisiana that was just getting hit every time, and they were trying to rebuild. And eventually the government was like, we're just not going to let you. Like, you're done. That's it. Like,
I got no problem with that.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I was getting at. Is like, are you guys okay with that? Does that make sense as like a form of government intervention? Because it is kind of heavy-handed for the government to step in and say, nope,
right,
you're just done, right? Like
if you want to rebuild that house every 4 years, I mean, I guess you could, but yeah.
Well, the problem is our rescue workers, they're putting themselves in danger to go save your stupid butt because everybody said this is going to be under 8 feet of water. Get out. And you stayed, right? That's problematic if it happens over and over. If it happens once, you just don't realize how bad it is. Okay. But if it happens over and over again, you're putting other people's lives at risk. That's pretty foolhardy. So, I mean, if I were supreme dictator for life, which I should be, if somebody wants to stay on that barrier island, have them sign a waiver that says, don't expect government help in the next storm. We're not going to risk people because you should know better. But if that's what you want to do, go for it, man.
With that one in Louisiana, the road that the government was paying for that road, right? The road kept getting washed away. And that's partly what did it is they're just like, we're not going to rebuild your road, right?
Good.
Like, you're done. We're not building the road because it gets washed away every like 2 years. So like,
good luck getting to your house.
Yeah, I know. I have to admit, I'm a little bit surprised that the libertarian kind of ethos of this podcast is basically you guys are like, yeah, no, this is a use of the government that's actually justifiable.
Well, you can extrapolate this out to make the point better, right? What if the natural disaster is a zombie outbreak in Miami instead of a hurricane?
Awesome. This is so much fun. Let's do
pretty cool, right? But so there's zombies all over and your house burns down and the government comes in and saves you and you're like, you know what? I really like my property. I'm going to go back in and rebuild. Like, or is the government
there are zombies.
Yeah, there's zombies everywhere. Is the government expected to send in a battalion so you can rebuild your house? That's I mean, you can extrapolate this out. That creates the same point that I'm trying to make here. That you're placing an undue burden on everybody else because you want to live there. Not cool. I'm not cool with that. If your house is paid for and you understand the risks and insurance is not going to insure you and you still want to build there, okay, as long as you understand nobody's helping you. Like I would be okay with that. But if
no, right.
You got to thin the herd somehow, right? You can't outlaw stupidity. Be nice, but you can't.
Oh, did you really just say you gotta thin the herd somehow? Okay. Tom, thoughts?
No, I'm okay with everything said. I do want to say it wasn't waffle smashing, it's waffle stomping. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
That's not any better, Tom.
I know.
Well, when you
Because now
said
you're
that,
saying feet instead of hands, but like that's the only difference.
but when you said that Tampa flooded for other reasons, immediately my brain went to, I bet somebody was waffle stomping the drains in the
Flooded the
Alberta.
whole thing. Yeah. Main
But
That's
I
drain.
what
didn't
it
say
was.
it. I
There's a
refrained
nice,
from saying
Waffle
it.
stomping.
yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Are we done? Like
Yeah.
we kind of all
Well,
found common ground,
what are you
or
guys' thoughts on my windows for my house? The insurance company is now on the hook to pay over 10 grand to bring those
yeah.
windows up to code, and it's kind of crazy. And the engineer's reasoning, he
Mhm.
said, unless you can prove that those were bedrooms downstairs where all those windows are when the house was built and there was an inspector there and it was all up to code, it has to be brought up to code now. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's grandfathered in. Like, that's kind of a weird way to justify it because the house was built before I was. Like, I don't know. I don't know what was down there.
Trying to think. I made out in that basement, Josh.
I know
You
you
had to
did.
have been alive when that house was built.
Maybe as a baby. It was built
Yeah, you
early.
would have been a baby.
Maybe it was built the same year I was born. 81, maybe.
I would think
Could
the
have been
economics
anyway.
of all this work itself out, right? If the insurance company is
Yeah.
getting forced to do this continuously, they're going to that's something they're going to be examining when they underwrite, right? And if
Yeah.
they're like, oh, that they're going to have to write that in as a
Mhm.
liability, right? As a possible liability that they might have to cover in the future, and they'll just upcharge you for that on your property. I mean, and they're probably already doing that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the bigger question is like code stuff. We added a lanai to our house, and yeah, it can get really annoying to do things to code, but I'm a strong supporter of doing things to code because generally speaking, the code is there for your safety.
Yeah.
because you've seen what happens in a Haitian earthquake when like quarter of a million people die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like there
That's
is a logic
exactly the
behind it.
case. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a logic behind building to code. And a couple of the things that like we didn't really get dinged for, but like some of the things that I saw as we were going through that construction process, there are nail plates that you have to put over pipes in your wall,
Yeah.
which totally makes sense, right? Like I wouldn't know that. I'm not a contractor. That's not my job. But when we were kind of inspecting the framing and the plumbing was already in, they were like, can't pass you. There are no nail plates here. My contractor was like, oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. Of course there should be nail plates there, right? So he immediately recognized it.
Yeah,
He
it's
just
good.
had forgotten that like he needed to put the nail plates in. So those kinds of things totally make sense to me. They're very logical. And so I do appreciate code. Can it be really annoying when somebody's out here checking your framing and it says a nail every 4 inches and he pulls out a ruler and he's like, that's 4.5 inches. You need an extra nail. Yeah, that
Right.
happened to me, right? Like that happened to me a couple of times where the inspector was just a little ridiculous. And I said, like, I have a nail right here. Can I hammer it? He's like, no, I got to come back.
Oh wow.
Okay, that's
That's weird.
silly. And there are some codes that are absolutely onerous. I had this lady, she was a client. I mowed her lawn. This was like 15 years ago. Old lady, it was just her and her little old dog. And I showed up one week and she said, "I'm so sorry to do this to you, but I don't have enough money to pay you. I had to buy medication for my dog. It was either have you mow my lawn or save my dog's life." And I was like, "Lady, I'll pay for the medication." Like, seriously? Um, and
Did
the
she wait till after you were done to tell you this?
No, she was very nice. She should have. I think I mowed it anyway. Um, but then the same lady, she stopped service like the next year. And I knew she didn't have any money, and the neighbor said he'd help her, and he didn't. So the lawn got overrun, and so a code officer from
Hmm.
Ogden showed up and started fining her because the grass was too high.
Mm,
She didn't have enough money to pay for somebody to mow
right.
the grass, so they're taking more money from her. It's like,
Hmm.
come on, guys, this is insane. This is what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So some codes like that, it can get out of hand. But at the same time, when I bought my house, I got up in the ceiling when we redid our kitchen, and the wiring up there was atrocious. They had taken like 3 different circuits and pigtailed them all onto one breaker with no wire nuts, just loose live wires in my attic. It's
Love it.
amazing that
What?
my house didn't burn down from that. It was crazy what I found up there. None of it was up to code, right? I mean, you guys know who lived there. Some dude got up in
We're
there and
not
just
going to out
started
him here.
slinging wires, right?
Oh
So
my
it's amazing my
gosh.
house burned down because the oven exploded and not because of all that bad wiring. So yeah, that like the code stuff is generally good as long as you don't get a
Yeah.
code officer that's on a power trip. Yeah, I like it.
Big
All
government.
right,
Let's go.
let's move
Okay.
on.
Yeah. Next
Fascism.
topic. All right. So this is another one that I put forward, and I want to give just a little bit of background here
I'll
before
be
we
back.
jump into this. Okay. Um, I this is gonna sound weird, and like Tom and Josh, you can both correct me if I'm wrong here, but you know, Trump took office in 2016. So this is almost a decade ago when he first took office.
Yeah.
I've never actually, until this past week, considered Trump a fascist. Okay. And I've never
Okay.
used that word. I've never actually used that word. I've called Trump all sorts of things, right? Like you guys have heard me call him all sorts of things, but I've never used the word fascist. And there are a couple of reasons for this, right? One, I've really struggled with what that means, right? Like
Yes.
the definition is tricky, I think.
It's a moving
And
target.
it gets used all the time. I think it gets
Yeah.
used way too much. And I still think that's the case. So even though I want to have a conversation about it, and I'm hoping that we can find common ground on what it is, right? So that's like my first goal is like, can we just agree on what this is? And then maybe we'll see if it applies to Trump. My I sent you guys an article, right, where like one of the leading experts on fascism has said, like, yeah, I think he probably is, but it doesn't matter because no one cares what the word means anymore, right? I think
Right.
I'm actually there. Like that article, I think finally convinced me that it's like whether he's a fascist or not, like who cares? It's not going to do anything, right? People level these accusations all the time at everybody, and it doesn't really do anything. So the word's overused, but there was something that just happened in the last week, and I'm going to show a clip when we get to that point that finally pushed me over the edge. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think this might actually be where we are. And it's got me scared. And this is where I started like sending messages to you guys like, hey, could we talk about this? And obviously it's been in the news a fair amount lately because Kamala
Right.
Harris did actually say, when asked, do you think Trump is a fascist? And John Kelly, his former chief of staff, said, yes, Trump is a fascist. So there have been multiple people who are saying this. What I really wanted to do was just like to start out and say, can we agree on a definition? Like that's where I want to go. And that was the original purpose of this podcast was, can we find common ground on like, this is what this is? So that's where I
Mm-hmm.
want to start. And then I have a clip that I want to show just to get your guys' take on it. And then we'll go from there. Does that make
Do it.
sense?
Let's do it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put forward a possible definition of fascism and let me know what you guys think as to whether like you agree this is a definition of fascism or not.
I hope it's just a picture of Trump.
It is not, right? There is in fact a picture at the top of this page. I'm on Wikipedia, right? This is just straight Wikipedia. This is Wikipedia's fascism page. And at the top is Mussolini standing next to Hitler, right? So there is a
Sure.
picture of those two,
I
right?
happen to
We're
have
on
the
the same
same
page.
thing up.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to read. It's like the first very long, complicated sentence, which is the definition. And I
Yeah.
want to get your take on like, is this fascism? So here's the definition for all of our listeners. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, and ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race, and strong regimentation of society and the economy. That's the very long, somewhat complicated definition that Wikipedia's page gives with what, like three citations, and then There's more citations later. What's your guys' take? Would you agree that that's a definition of like it is a definition? Do you agree with that definition of fascism?
I think I do.
Well, I don't see any problem with it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, podcast over. We're done. We found common ground. That's like all I needed today. I was just like, yay. Yeah, we're good.
Oh, let's hear why the bad orange man is haunting your nightmares.
We're all waiting for it.
Yep.
Okay, so
I mean,
yeah,
yes,
go ahead,
fascism exists. Mussolini was a fascist, right? Like,
Josh. Okay,
yeah,
so we can agree that Mussolini was a fascist.
sure.
Hitler, fascist.
Right. Yes.
Josh.
Mhm.
No, I love Hitler. I don't know if that's where you're going. That's where John Kelly
No.
went.
I'm just like, I'm trying to find common ground that we can
The
actually
stuff that
say.
John
Like,
Kelly came up with, where Trump was praising Hitler, like, oh my gosh.
that's okay, but like, can we just agree like Mussolini was in fact a fascist? You said
Yeah.
yes, Tom said yes, and Hitler, fascist.
Sure.
Yes. So we've found common ground that like there are in fact or have been historically fascists, and we agree on the definition.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like Ryan's walking us into the
Yeah,
trap.
it feels like
No,
a
I'm-
guillotine.
Please
I'm not
note the
trying
court.
to-
Will the court please note that these two agreed that Mussolini and
That
Hitler
is
are
what this feels
fascist?
like.
I'm genuinely like, I'm so, I've been thinking about this like all week that I don't really want to have this conversation because I don't want this to be like Ryan saying he's a fascist and we finally like jumped the shark and it's all over, right?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, so
Ryan,
yes,
here's the funny thing. I'm like okay with the idea. Like I'm okay with this. Wherever this goes, I'm totally okay with it. So like I'm fine with it.
really
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. So on some of these things, I think it's pretty clear to say like Trump probably meets the criteria. But it
Right.
was really one thing in particular that pushed me over where I was like, oh my gosh, like I think this is too far. And that's the clip that I'm going to show here in just a second. So he's definitely on the right, right? Far right, meh. I think that's wiggle room, right? That's always going to be relative.
He's not. And we could go through each of these.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Like, can we go through those for a minute?
I'm okay with
just
that.
like, yeah. So I think far right is a bit tricky, and other definitions that I've seen actually suggest that it isn't necessarily exclusively a far right phenomenon. But Trump is on the right. Like, that's fine. I'm not going to debate whether he's far right or not, right? But he's on the
Well,
right.
let's talk
Yeah.
about it. He's not. He's actually in his policies, his rhetoric, that's one thing. In his policies, he's actually fairly moderate. He didn't try to ban abortion. He threw it back to the states, right? That used to be like the line for conservatives. Well, he no longer qualifies, right? He's actually fairly moderate. He's definitely not far right. He used to be a Democrat before he ran for president.
Yeah.
His policies are pretty moderate. So right there, fascism is a far right. Nope. He's not far right.
Right. And so that's what I was saying. Like, he's definitely right. I would actually probably not say that he's far right. So I think we agree on that, right?
Okay.
I don't think he really is, because there are definitely people further to the right than Trump, right?
Okay. Moving on.
Authoritarian. Can we agree that he's authoritarian? And that actually is like there's a second piece that just totally agrees with that, which is characterized by a dictatorial leader. Those obviously go hand in hand. So what do we think? Authoritarian? Dictatorial?
In his personal mannerisms, absolutely. In his policy, no, because he didn't rob me of any freedoms when he was president. He was president for 4 years, right? But the way his leadership style, absolutely. He likes being the big man. He likes people to do what he tells them to do.
He likes loyalty over adherence to the law. Can we say that?
Well, that's what John Kelly said.
Well, I mean, I know, but like he's basically said, "Are you loyal to me?" And if you're not, then he'll kick you out of the administration.
He may have said that one time, according to John Kelly. Like, okay, yeah, he likes loyalty. Again, in his personal sphere, yeah. I mean, he's a bully, right? but that doesn't mean he's going to be an authoritarian leader of the country.
Well, but
So
the only reason he wouldn't be is because there are checks and balances, right?
Yeah, right.
maybe we don't
And
know that.
Well, I mean,
we
that's the hope, right? Is
well
that there will be checks and balances
Well, there
that
is checks
will
and
calm
balances,
down his tendencies, and I
but
think that happened during the first administration.
you're making an assumption there that just because his leadership style is he's large and in charge, that he wants to rule the entire country with an iron fist.
I mean, he's kind of said that. That's the
No, he
concern.
hasn't. Okay, he kind of says a lot of stuff. He kind of
Well,
said that he
yeah.
wants to inject sunlight into your veins, right? He says weird things, but
Yes,
you're
he
still
does.
making an assumption based off of
What he said.
off of weird off the cuff things that he said. But we had 4 years of him being president where he didn't do that.
Well, okay, and this may be an area where we actually just like have to agree to disagree. My take on it is that the people around him and the checks and balances prevented him from doing that. Because if he had his way, he would have done it,
We
right?
don't know that.
Well, sure, but we have people who literally have been on the record saying, he told me to do these things, and I was just like, I'm just not going to do that because that's illegal. Like, I would go to jail if I did the things that he told me to do.
We have people that he fired that are now grinding an axe saying this stuff.
He says that all the time, right? That's a lot of people that he fired who are grinding axes, right? Lots of people, and many of them are conservatives. So they're conservatives saying, like, the dude's a fascist, right? But, like, okay, fine. We're still trying to just work through these. So authoritarian, dictatorial, Josh agrees in his personal way that he approaches things. That is his approach. The question is whether that would apply at the federal level if he becomes president again. Tom, what's your take?
well on just the dictatorial thing, or
Yeah, like authoritarian dictatorial.
well, no, I agree with what his with Josh is saying. His temperament is very authoritarian, but like his actions, there's nothing
They're
that was
fine.
like an abuse of power. I think JD Vance brought it up a great point during the VP debate, where it's like he left the White House in January, right? And he left and he lost the election, and like there was no weirdness, like, you know.
He wasn't like screaming for the military to intervene, like
Yeah.
as they drug him out of the White House.
Right.
He left.
There was nothing. There wasn't
Like,
anything.
I mean, there was
strange.
that whole January 6th thing.
which
We're conveniently ignoring that. But
no,
like,
we're not ignoring that. He told them we're going to peacefully protest. He didn't do the riot. He wasn't in charge of policing. It was the liberal mayor of DC or whoever. We've discussed this, and the left just keeps throwing this on him like he organized the whole thing and it was an insurrection. No. He said, let's peacefully protest when he's giving a speech. I think I won the election. And then it went crazy. You can throw that on his feet all you want, but it's been proven over and over again that he didn't instigate the insurrection. It wasn't an insurrection. It was 100 people that were pissed.
The only thing that I
100.
can
We're talking
get
thousands,
anyone to
Josh,
pin
but-
him on that he was the mastermind was he did a tweet that I think doesn't seem to say anything at all. That like, we got to fight. This is our time to fight, and this and that, and was
Pretty
like,
sure that's all Hitler did too. He had one bad tweet, and all the Jews died. Right?
I think
So-
you just made the comparison to Hitler. I didn't make that comparison. I'm
No,
not
I'm
sure what
I'm
you were
making-
doing there.
I'm making fun of John. What's his name?
John Kelly.
John Kelly.
Okay.
let's go through that, Ryan. Are you putting that January 6th, you're pinning that to him and then saying, and that's your basis
Okay.
for
So let's
fascism?
instead of making it black and white, right? Instead of saying like it was either Trump or was not Trump. What if we put it on a continuum? And I know like this is me being the
that's
master of
fine.
nuance,
I think it's
right?
Yeah, he probably was a little too sloppy. Okay.
Let's
But he wasn't.
You're saying it overall.
Well, I'm not even going to say overall. I'm going to say he denied that he lost the election. Okay.
Sure.
He denied that.
Which
And
many
that
politicians have
ultimately-
done.
Well, okay. but
Hillary
that
Clinton
ultimately-
denied she lost the election.
Okay, Josh, hold. That ultimately led to the January 6th protest, not the riot yet. Okay. So I'm not leading to the riot. I'm saying
Okay, sure.
the fact that he denied that he lost the election led to the protest event that led to the riot on January 6th.
Yeah.
So to say Trump is completely clear of all blame for what happened seems a little bit over the top when if he had said, I lost and I'm going to leave the White House because this is how democracy works, there never would have been a January 6th protest event that could have turned into a riot. So at a minimum, you have to kind of go, well, maybe he's like 1% responsible, right? Like that's
Okay.
what I'm trying to get at. Maybe
Right.
it's not black and white that Trump did 100% of it, but maybe he contributed to what happened. Okay. Can we at least say like he has some responsibility, even if it's just 1%,
Okay, but
has some
Absolutely.
responsibility?
I'll agree with that, but if we're going to make that argument, which I agree with, how much responsibility did the liberals have for it?
Explain.
Because
Make the link for me, and then we'll
because we
see if we
just
can
had
make
an
sense.
entire summer where liberals were going Black Lives Matter and they're burning down cities across the entire country. And conservatives are sitting here going, what is happening? Why are we putting up with this? And then you have liberals, and we've discussed this on the podcast many times, why we went from milk toast Mitt Romney, who's the nicest guy ever, and liberals crucified him and we lost. So then we went, oh, I guess we need to fight fire with fire. We're going to put a nut job up there to fight these nut jobs that are persecuting us. So there was this sense of outrage when we saw the election and it was like Trump's winning. And then all of a sudden, the last second, all of these maybe illegal, but I mean, I'm not saying yes
Oh,
or
come
no.
on, Josh.
I'm not saying yes or no there.
You're pulling
But
a JD
people,
Vance.
no,
Ugh.
people were pissed off. Okay.
That's fine.
Are,
I can
are
concede that people were pissed off. That's fine.
are liberals at fault for that?
Are we at fault for winning an election?
See what you just did there?
No,
You
I'm
want us
genuinely asking.
to accede that Trump was not being careful, and so the January 6th was an offshoot of what he was doing.
But you're
But you're not
trying to
saying
now pin January 6th on liberals. And
why
I'm not sure I
why
could
were
see in any
people
way how that would come back to liberals.
so pissed off that they were ready to go storm the Capitol? Was it just because of the election? Because if you think that, we haven't been speaking very clearly for the last couple of years on this
No,
podcast.
I get that people are pissed off for all
Okay.
sorts of reasons.
So
I don't know that
all
I
I'm
fully
saying,
understand why people are pissed off,
okay,
but
fair
like,
enough. You don't
okay.
have to. All I'm saying is if you're going to try to pin some of the blame on Trump by your exact same logic, you have to pin some of that blame on the media apparatus that is clearly biased and these politicians that on the left who are lambasting people like Mitt Romney. So now we have to get a little crazy too if we want to compete.
Okay. I think that's a pretty big stretch. I'm trying to be very generous here, but it's almost like you're
No, I'm right.
saying that it's liberals and progressives who stormed the Capitol on January 6th.
No,
And
I'm
I
not saying
know
that at
that
all.
that's not what you're
That's all
saying,
I'm
but you're
saying.
like, they bear some responsibility. Ugh. I'm struggling. I'm trying to be as
That's
generous as
fine.
possible.
I'm just using your same logic
I'm with
to
you,
make.
Ryan.
Okay. All right. So let's skip past that. Let's come back to the definition, right? Ultra nationalist. What does that mean to you two? What does ultra nationalist mean?
He's a little bit like that. America, make America great again. America first.
America
For sure.
first,
Yeah.
right? So that's nationalism, right? Like
Right.
we prioritize
But
our country over everybody else.
Yes.
do you
That's
think
straight up his
nationalism is a
policy.
bad thing?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
think-
I think Tom's point is actually a pretty good one, right? Does it matter in this context? So we can bracket that. Let's have a conversation about whether nationalism is a good or a bad thing later. Right now,
Okay.
we're just trying to say,
Yeah.
does Trump
Okay,
meet
yeah.
these criteria?
Sure, I'll
Yeah.
give you
Okay.
that one.
Let's bang down this because I just
Okay.
want
I'll give you that
'cause
one.
I've
Yeah.
got a lot of thoughts, but yeah.
Oh, good.
let's
I
do
love
it.
that Tom has a lot of thoughts. So we already talked about characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy. Okay. What about that one? Because that one I think I struggle a little bit with.
He put abortion back on the states, right? That's not something that a dictator would do. A dictator would say, "I see it this way. That's how we're doing it," right?
I mean, I don't know that that's actually what he intended to do. He tried to overturn Roe v. Wade, and by default, it pushed it back on the states. But like,
Okay,
fine,
that's now his
okay,
stance.
I'll go ahead and concede that. Right,
Yeah,
Tom,
I
what's
just
your
don't
take
see it.
on centralized autocracy?
I'm putting that back with the argument of the authoritarianism. I didn't see anything that was any more than what what Biden Harris is autocratic, right? So
Okay. So maybe he wants to, but we
Yeah.
haven't necessarily seen it. And I
Well-
think I'm actually there. Like, I think I would agree that like this is probably what he would like to do, but I don't know that he's been able to pull it off.
Even like take like him stacking the Supreme Court, right?
Right.
He's trying to come up with an outcome, but like Biden was advocating for adding 2 more to the Supreme Court. What do they call it? Stacking
packing the court.
Yeah,
Mhm.
stacking the court. So like
that's way worse than
they're both
anything
trying
Trump
to
did.
they're both doing stuff, right? They're both
Sure. They're trying to
so
persuade things a certain way.
yeah, they're trying to get what you want. And
those aren't on par. Packing the court is not the same as trying to work within the system to get your judges in. Packing the court's like, I'm going outside the system and I'm going to break the system to get my judges in. That's
or maybe not allowing somebody to appoint somebody right before an election and then doing that very thing.
But but Biden didn't do it. So like, but I'm just saying, like,
so
they
I think we can
wanted to,
leave
and
that.
they were
Let's
trying
just-
to.
yeah,
do
keep
stuff.
going. We agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Militarism.
What does that mean exactly? Just pro-military, or I'm not exactly sure what
Is
that one
the
means.
belief or the desire of a government or a people that a state should maintain a strong military capability and to use it aggressively to expand national interests or indoor values. It may also imply the glorification of the military and the ideals of the professional military class.
Interesting. So half of it.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, I would
like,
say like I'm not 100% in on that, but like,
well, Trump didn't use
we'll get
the
to the
military
next one.
aggressively. We didn't get into any new
He
wars.
did in one particular instance, which is actually really interesting, and we'll come if you want to talk about it because it's actually a really interesting
But
case.
he showed incredible restraint several times. Like when Iran bombed that military base, like outside the base, and injured some people. I thought we were going to war. I was 100% sure I was waking up the next day and we were going to war. And Trump was like, nope, they're just being little dickheads. They're fine. He showed restraint. He wasn't aggressive. So I'd give like half because I think he believes strong military. I like strong military, but I don't think he ever used it aggressively. He used the threat of it.
So can I give an example where Debbie actually asked me this question in the shower the other day? She's like, what possible thing could you say that like Trump did that was good? And I was like, I have one thing, but I've got mixed feelings about it. Cause like, it's not like 100% good, but it's like not terrible, but like good. You guys remember ISIS or ISIL, right? Mm-hmm. So this like Islamic fundamentalist group that was taking over parts of Syria and Iraq and different parts of the Middle East. They of course they rose up during the Obama administration, and we were kind of fighting them and helping kind of fund different groups and like trying to maintain like boundaries and things. When it was actually during the Trump administration, I was consulting. Part of my research, right, I was consulting with MacDill Air Force Base and the Special Forces. So they invited me to an event, and I went to lunch with somebody during a break. So it was just like a break. And we started talking about this. And this was right when we had basically just wiped out ISIS. And so the conversation that ultimately resulted is this guy saying, it's actually a really interesting contrast between Obama and Trump. Obama was like, look, there are women and kids there. We can't kill them. We're trying to just kill the militants, right? And Obama said, bomb the shit out of everybody, level the city. I don't care. Just destroy it and we'll win. So he basically took the gloves off and told our military to literally just
Trump did that?
Yeah, he did.
You said Obama.
No. Trump said, like, just do it. Like, go, right? And if you see the pictures, they leveled the city. Like, they leveled their last stronghold, just utterly destroyed it. And sure enough, like, we basically won. And so the person I was talking to is like, this is kind of how you had to win against ISIS. And so I was using that example as like, ISIS was terrible. I think we can all agree that ISIS was terrible. Killing women and kids to stop ISIS is also pretty terrible. But it's an instance where I'm like, I kind of agree with Trump's militarism there. Like, kind of, but like, it's two wrongs, but like,
he made a military call. I wouldn't call it militarism. And again, what it says there, or what Tom's definition was to advance American interests. He was trying to put a stop to all the wars that started under Obama. Okay. Obama was at war every day of his presidency. He shot so many rockets and drones and killed so many people. The dude was, I don't know how he got a peace prize. The dude was a bloody maniac. Okay. That didn't happen under Trump. So I do take exception when if you're going to compare Trump to Biden or Obama, he is way less of a war hawk than both of them.
But I think you're missing
Let's-
my point. I think
I
you're
get your
missing what I
point.
said. My
He
point
blew
was
up-
like,
he blew up a
pulled the
building.
let's
gloves
not
off and
defend
said destroy
against.
him.
Let's not do
Okay,
it to
fair enough.
relativism. Let's do it just like
Well, that's what it
give
felt like
Ryan
Ryan was
points
doing.
if there's points due.
Well,
Okay, so Tom,
I'll give you another
because
example.
I'm not
of
100%
something.
in on the militarism either, but like
So
I see it. There's
here's
some of it
something
there.
Trump did. Okay, when he was meeting with the Taliban, he said, "You guys are gonna, you're gonna stop what you're doing right now. Like, I'm done with this crap." And then he pulls out a picture of the lead Taliban guy's house. It says, "You're gonna do what I say because I know that's your house, and we can blow it up at any second." And he walked out of the room. And they listened, right? So you can call that militarism. Maybe it is. He
I
used
think that
the
is
threat of our
militarism.
military.
Yeah.
He used the threat of our military, but he did it in such a way where people were like, "Oh, he's serious," and it shut down all of these dictators. Like it shut him down. Like his foreign policy was awesome. I don't care what you say. So yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll give you half.
I'm not
on
100%
militarism.
in on militarism either. I'm
Yeah.
not, but like there's definitely something there.
I think maybe you
Sure.
could say he's not afraid to use the military, but he wasn't abusing it. He wasn't abusing our military power at all. I
Okay.
thought he did a fantastic job.
Well,
I don't think
so
he
I'm
did,
not gonna
I don't think he did
necessarily
anything
debate that.
weird with the military.
So the one thing that he didn't do it, but he requested it. Do you guys remember when he requested a military parade?
No.
I'm not going to count anything that Trump said
As
like,
counting for this. So he
does
said he
not
wanted a
count.
military parade, kind of like they get in Russia and China. He said he wanted it, and our military was like, that would be ridiculously expensive, and it's going to destroy the streets because we have big tanks that are just going to eat up the stuff. And he's like, okay, I guess we won't do it.
Ryan, 99% of the conversation I have with people who don't like Trump is something Trump said once.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, I'm like, dude, tell me what he did that you disagree
that's
with.
fair.
Not
That's
he
fair.
said.
Right? Because he says a lot of stuff. He does
Yeah,
say
he
a
does.
lot of
Yes.
stuff. Okay, so now we get to the one that really kind of pushed me over the kind of the edge where I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is too far. Like we've gone too far. Can I play a clip on forcible suppression of opposition?
Do it.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Great
So
little clip.
one, I do think Jon Stewart is pretty funny.
He is.
What's your take on this clip? This is like that language is what finally pushed me over. And again, coming back to the definition of fascism, that next line is forcible suppression of opposition. So, thoughts?
So my thoughts are, yeah, that's concerning language. Again, I don't go by what Trump says. I go by what Trump does, because he does say lots of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And my experience has been the media goes bananas over things he says, but then if you look at his administration, there's not a lot there that I'm like, whoa, that was crazy.
What did he run on in 2016? Lock her up. Lock her up. Did he lock her up? No, he did nothing. What did Biden do? He has weaponized the DOJ to suppress his opposition.
Right.
Everything that the liberals here are freaking out about, everything that Jon Stewart's losing his mind about, is what the Democrats have done. Like,
no, Josh, you're spoiling it. I want to get them because, like,
oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. I won't say anything then. But yeah, him saying that. Let's pay attention. But I actually agree when he said we have an enemy without and an enemy within. I actually agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Who's the enemy within?
We haven't seen the Epstein list. Where is it? We haven't seen the Epstein list. We have all of these powerful people that are all in cahoots. They should all be locked up for diddling kids on an island. Where's the list?
Okay, but you're not talking about the left. You're talking about like rich bastards who
Deep
are
state.
Yeah.
pedophiles.
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't care
I'm
who they
fine
are.
with like going after pedophiles.
Okay,
But as
so
long as we're not saying
we have this deep
you're on
state
the left,
apparatus.
we should put you in prison because you're on the
That's not
left.
what Trump said.
Oh,
Trump
come
said
on.
there's an enemy within. He said,
And he said who it is. He literally said who it is. So don't parse words here of like that's not what he meant. He literally said it's Adam Schiff
the National
and Nancy
Guard,
Pelosi.
If in January, when does the president get put in?
January 20th or something like that.
Okay, so on January 21st, if the National Guard rolls up to Adam Schiff's house, let's revisit this. That's a problem.
What do you mean let's revisit this? It's a little late at that point, isn't it?
No.
Well,
I have guns. Second Amendment, Ryan. This is why we have the guns, in case these people get out of hand. Okay? He said he was going to lock up Hillary. He did nothing.
That's not entirely true. They had 4 investigations into her. They tried, and it didn't work. And did he actually go after Joe Biden's son? Yes, he did. Did he try to go after Joe Biden? Yes, he did.
He got impeached for it, for asking why he was getting payoffs from Burisma.
Exactly.
That's the enemy from within. Okay, I don't want to step on Tom's thing. He clearly has an October surprise for us here.
I know. So we have forcible suppression of opposition. Trump is 100% talking about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I get you guys are like, no. It's just talk.
It's concerning.
Right. But that's really scary. And this is when he said that is when I finally was like, oh my gosh, this is fascism. Like, this is what we mean by fascism, is when somebody is saying, if I take power, I'm going to lock up the opposition. That's fascism. Okay. Now, I'll concede if he doesn't do it. Okay, that's a pleasant surprise. Like, amazing, right? He's just a bunch of talk. He's a blowhard. So be it. But if he does it, we've elected a fascist.
We've already elected a fascist. Look at the corpse in there right now that weaponized the DOJ.
Oh, boy. Okay. Moving on. Belief in a natural social hierarchy. I'm not sure.
What does that mean exactly?
He has said some things about like people from other countries. It sounds kind of like eugenics and racism. I think that's basically what it's getting at. Yeah, it's a social hierarchy, right? So he's basically saying there are some people who should be on the top and others who should not. Right?
I've never heard him say that.
No, that's the language.
Heard him say
I'm not
he doesn't
saying
want
Trump saying that.
He doesn't want people from shithole countries here.
Right.
That has.
I haven't seen anything. I mean, like, I haven't seen him do anything that would support that. Yeah, maybe he said some stuff that's like on the edge.
He's definitely said things.
Yeah.
Whether he's done things again,
I don't know. No. What has he said specifically about a social hierarchy, saying we're your betters? And that's what that means in my mind, is there's an upper class of individuals and they deserve to be upper class. I haven't heard him say that.
Okay. I don't want to go down this path because the race issue is just like way too sensitive. So I'm going to skip that. Subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race. I'm actually going to straight out say this is not Donald Trump, because for him, it's all about his own individual interests.
Okay. And that, to me, that's the big one. Primacy of the individual is the most important thing that the government,
but in this case,
government should be supporting.
The primacy of Trump is the most important thing for Trump.
Well, I don't know that we have to get into it. If he's putting his interests above the country, I mean, you can make some arguments.
If he pardons himself, can we say that he's done that? Put his interests above the country, because he will be the first president in history to pardon himself if he wins.
No, because we all it was a witch hunt to get him. And you yourself said that Biden should pardon his son. So
I said that? I don't think I said that.
This is
you did say that.
Yeah. So I don't see the subordination of individual interests, right? I don't.
Right. So this is one where I think it's probably not, because Trump puts his own interests above everything else. So that's my take on it. And then the last one, I'm not sure I agree with either. Strong regimentation of society and the economy.
I would actually say a couple things about that because, like, when you saw it was like not Black Lives, I think it was Black Lives Matter, and the people kneeling, like the football players kneeling and stuff like that, and he was really, his talk was very like they should stand up, da da da, right? Sort of like
Yeah, kick him out
society
of the
shouldn't be like
NFL.
this. You should
Yeah.
be better, sort of like this is what a good society is. This is what a good society isn't,
Okay, so maybe I can
and
see it. Yeah.
even
That's just a personal take, though. He didn't like
totally
pass a law saying you can't go to
right.
football games.
I'd say just maybe poor taste, but otherwise, yeah,
So
Yeah.
more talk, not as much action on that one as well.
Agreed. Yep.
Okay.
Shocker.
Well, okay, and that's fine, right? So as we went through those, it's almost like it's a half and half, right?
No.
Now, if
But
we go
count 'em
with
up.
just
Let's count 'em
if we
up.
just go with his language, or if we go with his language, it's like 2/3 in favor, maybe a third against. If we go with his actions, right? I'd put it close to half and half. That would be my take.
And his
Probably close to half
actions?
and half.
He didn't qualify
I'd
for
say
like
3
any
out
of
of
them with
10.
his
That's what I'd
actions.
say.
Yeah.
Tom says 3 out of 10. Josh says 3 out of 10.
I mean, I have to go back and count them, but his actions, it was like almost none of them. So if these are all the check boxes to be a fascist,
No.
he ain't a fascist. Sorry.
And I'm not saying he did 3 out of 10. I'm saying like on the scale of fascism, he's a 3 out of 10. He's a 3, right? Of like,
Well,
he's got some leanings and
Okay. If
done a
we
few
just went
things.
off of his language,
Yeah,
would you put him as a fascist?
I put a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'd put him at closer to like an 8 or 9 out of 10 on his language.
Right.
I'm agreeing on his actions. I'm probably putting him at like a 5 out of 10. Tom's putting him at a 3 out of 10. Josh, where are you putting him?
sorry, language?
No, on
Or
his
actions?
actions. On his actions.
Yeah, like 2 or 3.
on his
maybe.
language, where would you put him?
Maybe a 4 or 5. Like, yeah, he says crazy things, but I mean, he's
Okay.
Trump. It's like, okay. Doesn't
Okay,
surprise
so
me anymore.
This was kind of really as far as I thought the conversation might be useful, right? Because labeling him a fascist, I agree. Like I don't know if you guys read that whole article, but there was that historical expert who's like, yeah, I think he's a fascist, but what good does that do? So I said this at the beginning of the segment, like, I would definitely put him in the camp. If we go off his language, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. I think you guys, like, I'm trying to be very fair. Based on his actions, it's harder to put them in that camp, but I wonder to what extent that's people controlling his actions and checks and balances preventing him from actually doing what he says he wants to do. I don't know that, but based on his actions, I'm not as convinced that he's a fascist, but like, he definitely has leanings. Definitely has leanings. What's your guys' take? I'll stop. Like, that was as far as I wanted to go, because I don't know that it does any good by calling him a fascist. So
I want to hear Tom's October surprise because I want to
Yeah,
pile on.
October spread. All right. Well, okay. Here's what I'll say. So, there's a post from Kamala Harris, a tweet, okay? Or yeah, I think they're still called tweets. Donald Trump vowed to be a dictator on day one. He vowed to use the military to carry out personal and political vendettas. His former chief of staff said he wanted generals like Hitler. Trump wants unchecked power. In 13 days, the American people will decide. And that's just one of a few where she talked. Yeah, he is unhinged, unstable, and given a second term, there will be no one to stop him from pursuing his worst impulses. Sounds pretty scary. Clearly they're trying to make this argument, right? Because that guy, the secretary, Kelly,
John
he
Kelly.
made that remark like almost 8 years ago. And, or not, no, 2020.
Well, he just came back out and reset it again.
Yeah. So it was said a long time ago, and then it's like, and it comes up, a week before election, right? And you're like, okay, clearly they're trying to create a narrative that this is something
they
that
got.
Crazy, right? And
well, I mean,
like
Trump walked into it by saying he's going to use the National Guard to arrest Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. Like, come on,
yes.
That's pretty nasty language.
It's aggressive.
Again, if he does it or not, that's a different issue.
Did you listen to Joe Biden's interview on Wednesday?
No.
Guess what he said in that interview? We should definitely lock up Trump. We really need to figure out how to lock up Trump because he's a threat
and then
to
he
democracy.
backtracked it, if I'm not mistaken. He did backtrack it after he said it.
Oh, so he had bad language, but then he didn't do it. He's a fascist. He's a fascist.
So
Tom, keep going.
here's a few
Josh is just
things
poking
here.
over here. He's just poking.
Well, I hate the double
Militarism.
standard.
Yeah, I got a few different ones. So a few of these that like, so yeah, I do think there was some stuff there. But like, here's the beef I have. Militarism, right? We're now in two major conflicts, right? Through the Biden administration, and this one is escalating before our eyes with
Which one? You mean like Israel and Hamas, and then
Israel,
Ukraine
Hamas,
and Russia?
Iran,
Israel
Hezbollah,
and
right?
Iran, because they're about to go.
So I'll
Okay,
just say
but like we don't have boots on the ground in any of these, really, right?
we
Like
don't,
we don't.
right?
We're
But
sending
we
a lot
are
of aid, but we're
our
like
our
maybe
fingerprints
training
are
some
all
stuff.
over this thing.
Yes.
And we have taken responsibility and said that we've got ships there. They are actively supporting Israel. Um, and then we have Ukraine, right? And
Mhm.
we have been escalating, right? Like our support and our involvement. So like like Josh said, compared to Trump, right? Trump really between like de-escalating North Korea and like the Abraham Accords, he should have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize for some
Yeah.
of the stuff he did.
His foreign policy is a 10 out of 10. I don't know how he could have done better.
The here's the other two. The subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation. Like this is the one, like, so when I talk to people, they're like, Trump's gonna be crazy and da da da. And I'm like, the stuff that is crazy is the talk of censorship by the left, and it just like bounces off. And I'm just like, because like what you said, Ryan, was like,
Absolutely.
yeah, that kind of talk is sobering. When I hear censorship calls, I'm like, that's sobering to me. And I think this is what I say to people: our checks and balances can handle a megalomaniac. We cannot handle like disintegration of our constitutional rights, right? Like we can't, like, censorship. We cannot. We will not survive that.
Yeah.
And so like
So can I jump
Okay,
in
but
real
we've
quick?
talked about censorship going both ways because the vast majority of the book bans that are happening in the US are not from liberals.
And
And
we
that
already
is
talked about
100%
that. We're
censorship.
protecting
I know.
kids. Okay.
children.
Tom sent out that text a week or so ago with 3 quotes, one from Waltz, one from Harris, one from Biden, all saying we're pro censorship. If it doesn't agree with us, we're shutting it down. If it's misinformation, we're shutting it down. And your response was, well, what's the context? The context was they're all pro censorship. Go read any of their speeches. That's literally what it is.
I did. It's more
Waltz's
complicated than that.
context is if it's misinformation, we should have the right to shut it down. All misinformation is it something that he disagrees with, right? So again, it's the double standard that's driving me crazy here. They're constantly saying Trump is a threat to democracy, and then they're calling for censorship. This is
Right.
nuts. And they're saying he's the fascist, and they're saying
Right.
that he's the one that's going to suppress forcible suppression of opposition, and they weaponize the DOJ. He's now a felon because of Biden. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That was
It's a double standard, and you won't call it out. Go, Tom.
That was my third argument, was the forcible suppression of opposition, between the attempts to get him off, like get him removed from the ballots in some of the left states, the lawfare with like unprecedented cases that we'd never seen before. And then you have the assassination attempts,
Yeah.
which is like,
Okay, but you can't put that on liberals. Like we can't
we
put
don't
any
know,
of this.
because
No, that
they're
is
not
absurd.
scaling back
I'm
the
not going to
rhetoric. They're
agree
saying
with that.
if this
That's
man
just
takes
that's
over,
crap.
he's
That's
destroying
bullshit.
the country.
No, because the people who did this, neither of them were like left-leaning lunatics. We cannot, don't even start on that one. So trying to put that on the liberals, I'm just not even going to buy it. Not for a second. And you guys both know that
Okay.
because the first attempt, he had donated to Republican causes. He just wanted to be famous. That's what it was, right? The second one, the dude was nuts. He was a lunatic.
The
So to
first,
try
I
and
mean,
put either of those on there,
we could delve
don't buy
into
it for a
that.
second.
The first attempt is so, yeah. There's fishy stuff going on with that first attempt.
all I'm saying, like,
that
I
one
can
looks
find
like a setup.
the compilation, but there was this massive, when Trump first did he was inquiring about Biden's involvement in Ukraine. And there was this massive compilation from the news agencies about like, this is the stuff that authoritarians do. This is the stuff that dictators do, is going after them. And like the stuff we've seen in reverse is just like just like completely asynchronous, right? Just like uh that's the efforts to try to remove him from the ballot or to try to just charge him
Or
with
leave
all these different
RFK on
cases
the ballot to
that all
try to
came
get.
out, all these felony charges that came out a year before his election, after he said the year before the election and after he had said he was running for president, is just odd, strange, and just incredibly suspicious. And it's so like that one, I like that's the problem. So like three of these, I think he looks like a church boy, and the left looks like, looks like Hitler, right? In many instances. And so like that's that's where I mean, like, for some when we talk about speaking, yeah, he says some crazy stuff. Actions, 3 out of 10. But like some of the left, I get like a 5 out of 10 on some of these things. It's just like on the scale of like fascism, of some of the efforts that have been made. So that's where especially in these three that I've said. And so that's where I see it.
Okay, Josh, you wanted to pile on, and then I have a hypothetical for you guys, and then we can
No,
probably wrap up
I
there.
jumped in and interrupted Tom. I love what Tom just said. I'm completely on board. The left loves to level all of these accusations at Trump, and then they're guilty of almost everything that they say he's doing. It's so bizarre. I mean, it's kind of brilliant in a way. It's like the ultimate form of gaslighting we're seeing here. Um, you
Hmm.
want to talk about dictatorial leadership? Look no further than the people in charge right now,
That's
because
really
we have.
fascinating. Like, what makes this fascinating is like we generally are just not seeing the same reality here.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
like we have two completely different realities. And the what you guys are saying, like I know like the stuff that you're saying, I've heard the claims, I've heard it, and it's just not getting into my head that that's fascism. But then when I hear Trump talk, I'm just like, this is a wannabe fascist dictator. Is he actually going to do it? I don't know, right? But it's pretty fascinating that it's like genuinely we're just not seeing the same reality at all, and
When
it's pretty
Let me
shocking
interject
to me.
this. In 2016, when he first ran, do I have my years right? Yeah.
Hmm.
I didn't vote for him because I was listening to the mainstream media as they talked about Trump, saying he was a fascist and he was going to destroy everything. I was posting on Facebook, don't vote for this guy. He's a monster. I didn't like Hillary. I didn't vote for either of them because I was buying into the rhetoric that you're listening to, that he's the worst man ever, and it's all lies, and he all he wants is power, and he's going to be a strongman dictator. I didn't vote for him. I was exactly where you are thinking about this guy. And then I stepped back, stopped listening to the mainstream media, and watched him for 4 years. He didn't do anything they said he was going to do. He was great. And like, yeah, listening to him, he's crazy. He's kind of a crazy dude. His policies were great. His foreign policy was amazing. The economy was great. He could have done a little better with COVID, but I thought he did pretty good. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to criticize about him except that he just says crazy things. And
Um,
let me lighten this up a little bit. Um, the way the liberals attack him, I mean, it's so bizarre, and it's um the like the whole McDonald's thing. They're so mad that he went to McDonald's and handed out some fries, right? And then he questioned whether or not Kamala ever worked at McDonald's. And what did the liberal media do? They said she has a friend that said she worked there, so therefore she worked there. They provided no sources. They couldn't believe anything Trump said, so they just said, "Nope, you're lying, Trump." They provided no sources to back it up. And I was watched this clip the other day where there was like a bunch of those instances just in the last week of the liberal media uh, freaking out on Trump, like the whole Hitler thing. He likes Hitler, and he wants Hitler's generals. And there was this big piece, this hit piece about him freaking out about the soldier that got killed, and he was supposed to pay for the funeral or something. Did you hear about that one?
Yeah, yeah, I read about it.
And they made up a whole bunch of crap saying he said It shouldn't cost $60,000 to bury a damn Mexican or something like that. That's what they said he said. Guess who's voting for Trump? Everybody in the family of that soldier. They all love him. They all said this is all lies. None of this stuff that is being reported happened. He was nothing but supportive. He was amazing. And the liberal media will not fact check it. They just keep throwing this stuff out there, trying to smear him with no sources. It's nuts. Is Trump really saying, I like Hitler? He's awesome? No, I mean, the guy's crazy, but he's not that dumb. So because of, I mean, I've said for years, I've been critical of Trump for 8 years now. Because of all this, here's my ballot. Here's my ballot right here, Ryan. I'm gonna fill it out right now, and I'm gonna put hearts around Trump's name. I'm all in now. I'm all in on Trump. I'm all in on Trump.
Can I ask my hypothetical now?
Sure. Yes, Ryan.
Okay. Hypothetically, Trump wins this election, and I'm actually at this point like resigning myself to. I think he might actually win this, right?
So I want before we end, I want us to make some. I want us to make a prediction, and two like. A prediction and then how things will work out. So, but yeah.
Okay. So here's the hypothetical. Trump wins. He does manage to clean out the quote unquote deep state, right? He gets rid of all of these like veteran, employees of the federal government who have been doing their jobs for a long time. And because he's saying he's going to do this and he's going to put in a whole bunch of loyalists and they're going to do what they want. What would have to happen in order for you to say, oh shit, he is in fact a fascist? What would have to happen? And Josh, you mentioned one. If he sends the National Guard or the military to go arrest Adam Schiff or Nancy Pelosi, is that all it would take? Or is that just like, well,
I mean,
Trump does some crazy things.
If he moved outside the rule of law, if people weren't getting trials and he was just locking up political opposition, we're done. We're done. We're mobilizing. I'm not standing for that. Like you can't just, bypass the courts and use the military to lock up military opponents. That's a deal breaker for me. We're done.
So that would just that, and you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, and the beauty is like, this is being recorded. If that happens,
we're mobilizing.
You just said you're mobilizing.
Yeah.
Tom, what would it take for you?
Same. Yeah. If he made moves like that against political opponents, I have no loyalty to Trump, and I don't I've never voted for him, never will. And the thing is, the big thing is like, we've seen 4 years of him, right? And I want people to name like, what were the things that were like absolutely reprehensible that he did in the 4 years, right?
That he did. Not
right.
That he said that
his involvement with January 6th, I would say, is the worst sin, right? To whatever extent that was. And then it's like, give me the other ones. And I'm just like, there's not a lot.
Nobody can. Yeah, nobody can.
But yeah, if they started doing things like that, I would be very concerned, and I would be vocal about it for sure.
Interesting. Okay. So that was my hypothetical. I just wanted to know, like, let's say he wins, what would push you over the line to where you're like, oh wow, like we just had this conversation. He's saying
he actually
tries to be a dictator. Yeah, like he's saying it. He says it all the time, right? Like if we just go off his rhetoric, he is absolutely in the fascist camp. Off of his actions, I'm conceding, right? He says a lot of stuff. Absolutely.
It was like 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I put him at 8 or 9. So, okay.
Yeah, because he's living in your head for some weird reason.
I want to make a final point. This is an interesting idea in that fascism gets thrown, like Ryan, what you were saying earlier, that it gets thrown around as sort of a hiss and a byword, and maybe not meaningfully, right? Mm-hmm. Where it actually has meaning. And this is interesting. I was talking, Jordan Peterson brought this up a while ago, and I thought it was an interesting idea that we know the name of Hitler, and is like the worst guy, the most evil guy ever, right? And, clearly a fascist. Mussolini too. Mussolini was a little more incompetent, but we don't associate, what we don't associate is like Stalin or like Mao as like very bad, wicked people, right? Like these are
I
evil
certainly
people.
do. They're
But
terrible.
if you right, you do as a well-read, educated person, you talk to most people, they're like, huh? And like everyone
Yeah.
knows Hitler, and like
Yeah,
he's bad,
he's the
bad dude.
default. Yeah.
And but you look at like body count and like
Body
Stalin and
count
Mao
is
win.
yeah, like
Yeah.
hands down, they win.
Their own people, they win, right? Like
Right.
they killed their
Almost
own people to the tune
more
of
well.
tens of
egregious.
So
millions.
so did Hitler. The Jews were his
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
Germany.
right.
no.
But he was also importing Jews from other countries and killing them, right? Like
Yeah.
Stalin with his pogroms and also with his leaps forward, and same with Mao, right? Like we're going to have these
Oh yeah.
leaps forward, and they literally starved to death tens of millions of their own people, right? So, like, I know that. Yeah, they were terrible. It's awful.
What I find interesting is just this narrative, right? That it's like fascism and Hitler and blah blah blah, and you're like, well, okay, and then there's communism, and all the dead body, the massive trail of
Way
bodies that were
bigger
left
body
by
count.
them, and much bigger, right? And
Way
we're always
bigger.
like,
Big
yeah,
body
yeah,
count. Yeah.
but then we have self-proclaimed communists in our country, and they're like, yeah, it's great, and then you're like, but don't call me a fascist, right? And you're like, that doesn't make sense. It just
Oh, I
it
love it.
that doesn't add up to me. And like that it's a weird thing that you're like the communist should be the worst word and the
Yeah,
leaders should be associated with worse evils, right? But it's not. And I don't think that's by accident, is what I'm saying.
I love your point,
Um
Tom.
I'm
Love
not
it.
sure I understand that, but like I don't understand the like by accident part, but I could totally see why some people would say, well, I'm a communist, but I'm not like those communists, right?
right. I want different
If
flavor.
you actually read what Karl Marx had envisioned, and Engels, right?
Oh, see, that's why it's not by accident. The whole postmodernist movement is based off of Marxism. That's why it's not by accident, right?
Okay, that's just patently not true. So
It is. But okay. We can do
no.
that on a different podcast.
Yeah, we can hammer that out.
Marx was not a postmodernist.
No,
That's
the postmodernists are Marxists.
Many of them are. Yeah, but
Yeah, the
Marx
whole
was not a
movement is based. I
postmodernist.
didn't say he was. I said the
Okay.
postmodernist movement is based off of Marxism. I didn't say anything
Yeah.
about Marx.
Well,
Um
okay. That's a different debate for another time, but like,
yes. Okay,
yeah, Marx in and of himself wasn't a terrible person. So,
Never said he was. Marxism is
Josh,
garbage.
I want to hear a prediction. Okay, who do you
Trump's
think is going
winning
to
in a
win?
landslide.
How do you think it's going to go?
Landslide. Trump's winning a landslide. The left already played their October surprise. I think it was John Kelly, which was they already played that card. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. That's another one. Is what's the October surprise? Yeah,
the original game plan when they replaced Biden with Kamala, it was to keep her away from the press because she's so stupid she can't talk about any policy points, and to get her to stop laughing. And it kind of worked, right? They had momentum the first couple weeks after they put her out there because it's new, and it was like, oh, look at this lady. And the left must have realized they were behind because they threw that strategy out of the window and just started to put her everywhere, which is so dumb. She is so bad. She can't talk. She can't elucidate a single policy point. So when they put her out there, like now everybody can see she's a fetching idiot. She's just stupid. So it really, really looks to me like the liberals are super desperate to play that as that's their strategy, to put this lady that can't talk out there in front of everybody and put her on the Call Her Daddy podcast. Good, bold move, Cop.
okay,
Uh,
okay,
I'm
okay.
I'm pretty sure, unless something crazy happens, unless they have another October surprise, or unless Trump gets shot. I'm
Hey,
pretty sure he
hey,
wins in a landslide.
yeah. Um, okay, Ryan.
I mean, the polls, to what extent they're good, right? It's a neck and neck race. I don't think anybody really knows at this point what the outcome is going to be. Um, I'm trying to resign myself to Trump winning, so it's not devastating to me that night, right?
Right.
I do pay fairly close attention to Nate Silver, the founder of 538, who does some of the best
Yeah.
polling, I think, and now works for the New York Times, but that's fine. Um, I don't know if you caught his latest thought, but like the last poll that they're actually going to sponsor just came in today, and it put him literally at 48-48. And then people asked him like, okay, but what's your gut instinct? And he said Trump. He thinks it's going to be Trump. But he also said something that was really interesting. And so I don't think it's going to be a landslide for either one, right? It's going to be the swing states, right? We already know the outcome in most of the other states. It's like 7 to 8 swing
True.
states where it actually matters, right?
Yeah.
I think they're going to be close. I think it's going to be thousands of votes, maybe tens of thousands, but I don't think we're talking about hundreds of thousands of votes different. I think it's going to be thousands of votes. There's going to be some contention over some of those votes. We know that there's already an apparatus in place to fight whatever the outcome is if Trump loses, right? So I think it's going to be fairly close. But Nate Silver also said, look, the polling data could be off in either direction. We actually don't really know. There can be biases built in there. And he said it's very possible that one of the two candidates actually sweeps all the swing states. So I don't know, right? Like the true answer is like none of us actually know how this is going to come out because the polling data is too close. But I'm trying to resign myself to like Trump's probably going to win this.
Why would you be devastated? We had 4 years and things were fine. Like you seemed happy 4 years ago. Like we were having a
What do
good
you
time.
mean when Biden won? Or
No, when
You
Trump
mean-
was president.
no,
You're
like
gonna be devastated.
you
Come on,
adjust
bro.
you adjust a
You're
lot.
not moving to Canada.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Jeez.
No,
Do you-
like I'm not moving for a
Right.
while.
Canada's
Do
going to be
you-
great because Pierre Poilievre's going to beat out stupid Trudeau, and it's going to be awesome up there. So
Oh boy.
Do you think the Democratic Party played their hand wrong with the route they went with putting Kamala in?
I think the Democratic Party did not realize how much and you guys are both of listeners,
Here
if
comes
you
the
can
sexism.
watch
Here comes the
watch Josh's
sexism.
face right now, because I'm gonna say it.
I already
And
know
he's
what's
ready
coming.
for it, and he
Pull
knows
over
it's
if you're
coming.
driving.
Right? Yes.
Because it's the
Look
only
at
thing
Josh's
you
face.
have. It's the
No,
only
no,
thing
no.
you have. Here
I
it
think
comes. Go.
I think they underestimated how much sexism and racism still exists in the US.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Because
the poll- I mean,
I was laughing.
that's
How much
survey
sexism?
data.
What?
How much sexism and racism still exists in the US? The survey
thought
data
you-
that we
There
have
it
is
is.
pretty compelling. That
There
she's
it
lost
is.
10% of the vote out of the get-go. That 10% you can just write off because they have said they will never vote for a woman for president.
I thought you were going to say how weak a candidate she was, that they underestimated.
I don't think I mean, I've already said this, right?
Yeah.
Is she my ideal candidate? Is she the best, strongest candidate they could put forward? No, I never said that. I've never said that she's the best candidate. But I think they were really hopeful that those two things would not actually factor into this. And I think that was a total miscalculation. I think if you had put forward a strong white male candidate up against Trump, you would not be dealing with that. And I'm not saying it's 90% of the electorate. I'm saying it's 5 to 10% of the electorate won't vote for a black person for president, and they won't vote for a woman for president.
That's why.
And they've
That's
said
why
it.
Obama won in a landslide.
He didn't win 100% of the vote, Josh. Come on, let's not be
No.
ridiculous. There
But
were
he won
5
a
to 10%
lot.
of Americans who will not vote for a black person for president. And they've said that. They repeatedly say this. Like, they're open about their racism. So to just like discount it and say it's not a real thing, it's totally a thing. It's just not 80%, right? So you're writing that off.
So
That is
what
a
do you
factor.
call racism against orange people without any basis?
Oh.
Intelligence.
Do you think she's black?
Huh?
Do you think
She
she's
is
black?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
half black. Yeah. She's
Oh,
half
half?
black, half Indian. Yeah.
And Asian?
Indian, Southeast Asian. So
Yes,
Indian.
Yeah,
Her mom's
okay.
from India, her dad's from
Subcontinent.
Jamaica. Yeah.
Okay. So okay.
I don't know.
All
Was
right.
that a solid answer? Because Tom, you still need to tell us what you think is going to happen. Because on our last podcast, was it the last or the one before that? You said you thought if the economy stayed where it was, Harris was going to win this.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah, I do.
changed?
And I think I mean, the polling is showing that Trump seems to be gaining an advantage. That seems to show. I think Josh is completely right. I think they were going to try and keep her hidden, and then I think they were a little worried, so they brought her out and got her more public. And I don't think that's helped improve her numbers. And so this is what I think. Yeah, based on well, I think there's another October surprise left. I don't know. I have a weird feeling. So I want to put it out here so it's on camera. I have a weird feeling they are going to put a bullet in Trump and not kill him, but he's going to get a bullet. That's just got a feeling about that. I don't know why, but I do not think they will go silently into the night into November 5th. And when I say they, right, like I'm not meaning like the Democratic Party's planning an assassination attempt. I'm just saying like there's enough opposition that someone's gonna be like, we got to do something, right? Something's got to be done, and so someone's gonna like the second assassination attempt, right, where it's like some activist.
The
But
first one looks like it was the party or at least corporations or something. That one looks super suspicious.
it
There's so
looks
many
super
red flags.
suspicious. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff behind it. But we'll probably never know, right? But there is a
No, they
lot of
burned the
weird
body.
stuff.
They killed the
Hmm?
guy, scrubbed his apartment, and burned the body. They got rid
Well,
of all the
yeah,
evidence.
there's the whole like
Super
him
weird.
being shown with the CEO of BlackRock, really
Yeah.
weird, right? It's like,
Being in
um,
BlackRock commercials, his phone being traced,
yeah,
going there several times, like
a
weird
lot of weird.
stuff.
So, but yeah, I I don't think we're just gonna quietly just move on until there's another surprise waiting. And like if that did happen, Trump would win by a landslide if he survived. But if he becomes president, it's gonna be a crap show in that he's going to be fought every step of the way and villainized, right? And like, and not to say he's a saint or anything, but that it's going to be tumultuous. Is what I'll say. And like, like his last campaign, right? Or his, which I think he did good stuff. I don't think he did anything bad, but like it was especially with COVID, everything, right? There was a lot of craziness and like Trump's a bad dude, and I think that'll continue, and it'll look like, between the Black Lives Matters and COVID, it was like this place falling apart, right? And that'll just, and I think there was a lot of media drumming that idea
It was
up,
the
right? That
media.
like
Like
everything's going to
it's
crap.
weird to me that they don't want him elected because that's the best thing for like CNN.
Absolutely, it'll be incredible for their ratings, and
Yeah.
like that will be the best thing that happened to him. Just like it's been great for Fox these last 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And like that always happens, and so but they're always opposed to it, but then it's like it's a blessing. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I think is going to happen.
Interesting.
You think he's
Tom's
going to win, or you don't think he's going to win?
Well, I think based
Because
on the
I didn't
polls,
actually come out definitively and say it either. I said I'm resigning myself to the possibility that he's probably going to win, but I don't know, and
yeah,
that's what I'm basically saying.
here, this is what I okay, this is what I say. We're going to see fireworks within a week. We're going to see fireworks, and I don't know what that is, but we're going to see fireworks, which will help propel Trump to win. Either that's economic data, war, assassination attempt, something's going to happen, and things, it's going to be exciting like within the next week, and like in the final stretch, and I think
interesting.
it will propel Trump to win, and then
You just
I
got me more
think
excited.
So Trump's going to stage another assassination attempt.
on
Oh my
himself.
Hey,
gosh.
if we're
actually
throwing out conspiracy
he's
theories,
actually going to
then
take a
why
bullet.
can't I do this too?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well, you can.
Or he actually gets
That's
shot.
actually interesting. We're coming to the same conclusion, Tom and I, that Trump will win. But from my take,
Why do you think a landslide? Why do you think a landslide? The polling is way
because of
too
how
close to
desperate
suggest a
because of how
landslide.
desperate the liberals are. Why on earth would they throw Kamala out there? She's terrible. And then you look at all the little things like SNL, they've turned on Kamala. They don't do that. They're a bunch of liberals. They've turned on her. So when you look at the little things like that, and that the liberals changed the DNC changed their tactic with her, she's terrible. And they hired a lip reader. Biden was talking to Obama. Did you see this? And they hired a lip reader to see what they were saying, like a professional. And the lip reader said that Biden was like, "Hey, we need to talk. They shouldn't have ousted me. She's terrible. Like
She's
I'm a
not as
much
strong as
stronger."
me.
Yeah, and Obama was like, "Yep, you're totally right." Like
Yeah.
it's just super interesting stuff going on there. So I think the left is desperate, and they're showing that
Biden
desperation.
Biden would not have won. I think they made a mistake and they should have done a blitz election. I think they could have
Yep.
gotten a stronger candidate in. And it,
Anybody.
well, the thing is she was polling so horrible as the VP. I mean,
Yeah.
worse than Dan Quayle, right? And it's like you thought she was going to win, is like by putting her as the
But they
nominee.
couldn't. The intersectionality said that they couldn't oust her. She's a black woman. We can't bypass her.
Well, that's why you let the electorals figure it out, right? You
I
let
mean,
them vote.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. That's what they should have done. She is like the weakest candidate. She can't interview.
So
Like
yeah, I said that before. I said that that they think they've made a poor move in order to keep control, right? To like control what was going to happen. And I think they've because I think they would have felt like it was going out of control if they'd done a blitz election because they're like, oh, we can't do that this late in the game. But I think they would have had a better outcome.
they definitely
But
would have.
we'll see.
And I saw an article the other day that talked about how yeah, she melted Trump's brain in the debate when she said she had bigger turnouts in her rallies.
She baited him really well. That was
Oh,
awesome.
that's why she won the debate. She melted his
She,
brain, right?
yeah, she got
But
him.
I read this article the other day that somebody's been tracing cell phones for all the people that show up to her debates. It's the same people. They get bussed in from Georgia. It's a bunch of people that they're paying, and they've tracked it. They've tracked the cell phones. You don't see buses at Trump's rallies because we're not bussing anybody in. It's just people that are excited, right? So everybody going to her rallies, they're paid shills. Like that's crazy. It's crazy. Um, so you look at these little things, and it just
We
points to me.
totally like watch different news. It's crazy.
That's why
It's
we have different
bizarre.
realities. That's what
I
I'm trying to
know.
tell you.
It's
That's why
pretty
I'm trying to tell
shocking.
you. And so, it always comes back to the media on our podcast. It really
I
does.
know. I know. And I hate that conversation. Can I throw out one last
You
thing?
hate it because we're right.
No, no,
Brian,
no.
go.
I hate it because we have different realities. That's what I hate,
Yeah.
right? Is because we have different realities. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying that's shitty. And that's why we have this podcast, right? So I do
Yes.
learn from you guys, but sometimes it's really hard, but like I do
You're
learn.
right. Well,
Um,
like hard. It's hard watching the John Stewart stuff, right? And you're just like,
yeah.
well, you know. So yeah, no, totally, I get it.
Um,
Yeah.
Thinking about this podcast today, I was like, ooh, my I don't know if your guys' brains do this, right? But sometimes my brain will go in like really weird, like down a rabbit hole, crazy directions. And I was like, ooh, what if, right? Because I knew we were going to be talking about fascism. And I'm like, all right. So I wasn't going to say like Trump's a fascist and it means anything, right? Like I had already decided that. But I was like, let's say that Trump does take office and then he does like execute what he's been saying he wants to
Yeah,
do. And he's like straight up a fascist, right? And I
yeah.
was like, oh, well, what if there's like a positive outcome to all of this? That all of us have been railing this whole time about our first past the post system, our two-party system, our broken electoral college system, all of these problems. What if it introduces a constitutional crisis and we actually introduce like a parliamentarian system? We get rid of the electoral college, we fix all of these
Awesome.
problems because we're like,
No.
we have to actually solve this, right? It was kind of like a positive spin of like he institutes a constitutional crisis because he's like, I'm now a dictator and I get to do whatever I want. And Josh mobilizes with his guns and shoots all of them, right? Because that's what's going to happen. And then we have to refigure the government to prevent
Do
this from
you
happening again.
do you know what happened the last time that happened
You mean here in the US?
in Rome?
Oh, okay. I was like, that hasn't happened in the US. What are you talking about, Tom?
Well,
I mean, it's not going to be resolved in a year. That's not going to happen in a year. It's going to
no,
take a long
I'm just
time.
saying we're not going to be like because it's who's going to it'll just
Yeah,
turn into a power vacuum and we'll just get another dictator right in
probably.
place if that'll be the end of the republic is what it
I
would
know.
be
And
probably.
I was trying to be like, this is my weird optimistic brain that it's like maybe there will be a positive side to all of this if he does become what he says he wants to
Right.
become, right? Probably won't happen. I think you're probably right that it would be the end of the United States of America as we know it.
100%. I I don't think that will happen, but yeah, it's definitely I mean it feels like we're in a danger zone on either side. I feel like we're in the danger zone. I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
Everybody gets freaked out before every election. It says this is the most important election ever.
You're
I'm
right.
actually,
You're
I'm
right.
actually encouraged, and it was because of that RFK interview I listened to, where he went and met with Trump, and Trump said, "That first time, I was not expecting to win. I was shocked. So people just showed up, and I surrounded myself with people that sucked, and they were in it for themselves. This time, I want to actually surround myself with people that care about the country." Like, awesome. That fills me with hope. That's
That's
what he
cool.
told RFK. So I'm actually hopeful, and I'm not discounting the possibility of what you said, right? Yeah, this could be bad. The guy's weird. He's clearly a narcissist. But that being said, he's raised good kids. He did good the first time around. When he talks to people, like if you watched his McDonald's thing, he's really good with people. He seems like he actually cares about people. He's a weird dude, but maybe be a little more hopeful. Like I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's going to be just fine.
If the
I,
checks and balances stay in place, yeah, I'm fine with that. But if the checks and balances go away, we have elected a dictator.
I'm happy with what Ryan said. That's totally satisfactory. In that, what I hate is like I'm gonna move to Canada. I'm like, no, you're
Well,
not. First
no,
off, no, you're
nobody
not.
moves.
And
No,
second, like really, like how much is
Right.
this actually gonna affect your life, right? You're like
Well, yeah, I say
zero.
this all the time. I'm a middle class white male, right? Now, I do have a couple of strikes against me. I'm on the left and I'm a college professor, right? So
Mm-hmm.
those do get pilloried a lot by the right, okay? But like, I'm a married, heterosexual white male. I should
American,
be, yeah, I should be fine, right? Like,
right?
if anything, I should
You're a
be cheering
protected
him on. I'm
class.
like, yeah, right. Like, this is my guy. But is it going to harm a lot of people I do care about, depending on what
no.
he does? Possibly, right?
They'll
What is
all be
gonna
better
happen,
off.
Ryan? What are you
Well, I mean,
saying?
it depends, right? It depends on the policies that he puts into place. So we just have
Busting
to
We
out all
already
the
see.
had
women.
4 years. What do you think he's going to do that's going to be so terrible? Going to enforce the border? Oh, dang it.
Uh,
No, Ryan, what's your worst case scenario? Like what I mean, besides like, yeah, him becoming like a complete fascist, like
right.
what's a major thing you'd be like, what's the thing most probable and likely that you're worried about?
Again, less so about me, right? Unless
Right.
he's like,
Right.
we're going to clean out all of the leftist professors at the universities because they
Right.
are harming us, right? Which, I mean, they're
He's
kind of trying to
never
do that.
even intimated doing
But
that,
no,
but
he
okay.
hasn't. But did Hitler do that?
Wow.
No, no, no. Hey, we've been comparing him to Hitler this whole freaking podcast, right? So, like, did Hitler empty out the professorate?
He got rid of the opposition. Yes.
Yeah. And the clergy.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I mean,
kind of.
he was Catholic, but like that's
No, he
beside
was
the
not.
point. That's not
Right.
debated, Josh. He was Catholic. That's
No,
not
he
even
was
debated.
not.
You're just gonna
You're right.
say like a bald-faced lie? Like he
No,
was Catholic.
it's not debated. He told the people he was Catholic so that they would vote for him
Oh,
and like him.
so
In his personal writings, it's very clear he was an atheist. Like patently clear. Anybody that studied his writings will tell you he was an
he was a
atheist.
Catholic.
He
He
was
was
not
a
a Catholic.
Catholic.
Um,
People that don't believe in
Totally
God
beside the
don't
point.
mass murder people.
you are worried about that, Ryan, that he's going to gather
No, no, no. I'm
academics.
saying like that like
Yeah.
it's happened under fascist regimes before,
Under fascist
right?
regimes. Right.
Under fascist regimes, they look at the left and they're like, that's where they're brainwashing our kids in the universities. We have to clear out all of the professorate and we're going to just wipe them out and get rid of them, right? I mean, if worst case scenario, he is the fascist dictator that he says he wants to be, right? Could that happen? Yeah, yeah, it totally could, right?
That's pretty
Um,
extreme.
it's very extreme, right?
Okay.
But
There's no way that could happen.
are there insinuations that that's what Ron DeSantis is trying to do here in Florida? Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They're slowly trying to whittle away the protections that faculty have for academic freedom at universities.
That's different than sending the military over and rounding you up and
Right,
putting
right,
you
right.
in.
I know, but they're moving in that direction, right? Not send the military tomorrow, but they're whittling away the protections that we have to slowly make it so they can just replace the professorate, right? So that is the one big thing that like I have against me in a fascist dictatorship is I'm part of the professorate and I'm left leaning, right? So if he actually did do what he says he's going to do, is that a legitimate concern, right? We got a whole bunch of really great professors and scientists from Germany when Hitler took over. They came to the US, they came to the UK, right? They left because they were forced out, right? They were literally forced out or they were going to die.
But we also got a whole bunch of Nazis after the war because we wanted to win the space race. So
yeah, I mean, sure, right?
Okay,
but I'm not denying that, right?
All right. Well, I think that's good. This is a good place.
let me just add one more thing there.
We're going to keep adding things all night long.
We
Every
should.
one of
well,
us
it's fascinating.
I have one more thing. Go ahead, Josh. I'm fine with that.
We're living in two separate worlds.
We are.
The left keeps saying Trump's a threat to democracy, and as we just saw, they can't elucidate why. They can't say, well, because he's going to do this. It's where we started, right? He's a fascist. We don't really know what that means, but we're going to call him a fascist because we're afraid of what he's going to do. But what's he going to do? We don't really know. He was already in charge for 40 years. Like, why are we freaking out, right? It's going to be fine. I promise.
Okay, but
it's going to be fine.
I really hope you're right, Josh. Like 100%, I hope you're right.
Okay, if
but
he mobilizes the military and marches down to the University of Tampa, give me a call. I'll be there with a couple thousand people, and we'll all have our hunting rifles, and we're going to. You think I'm just going to stand here while he marches you off to a prison camp?
I don't think you would, right?
Okay, but so it's going to be okay.
I hope so. You said, like, why are we worried? Because he's saying it. He's literally saying it. And I know both of you are like, yeah, but he says all sorts of things, right? He's saying, I want to be a dictator. I want to lock people up. He's saying these things.
He didn't say he wants to be a dictator.
Video. He is, Ryan. He is.
He's totally saying the things, right? Now, the question is whether he'll do the things that he's saying. That's the question.
Okay, what the Jon Stewart video? I agree with most of what he said. He said we have an enemy within. Yeah, we got a deep state. It's a swamp. I hate it. I hate it. I would love it if he would use the DOJ properly and go and find all these people that diddled kids on Epstein's Island and find the people that are taking advantage of the system and lock them up. I would love that. I would love it. But if he just unilaterally says, okay, military, go get Shifty Schiff, that's a problem, right? Those are two very different things. So, again, we're living in two different realities. I hope he does some of what he said.
There's a couple weird things then that he says, there's an enemy within and I want to get rid of it. And then there's a jump in the interview, right? And he talks about Adam Schiff. And I don't know so you get the implication that he wants to use the National Guard on Adam Schiff, but those are two different statements. Yeah. I'm not sure what he's saying in one versus the other, because I'm all for, I mean, he did say, I mean, using the National Guard is a little concerning, but because he is saying he wants to do the Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk and cut down on unelected bureaucrats. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. And like, I don't know, do we need the National Guard for that? I don't think so. So that's a little weird, but like,
agreed.
Like locking up Adam Schiff, that's weird, right?
Okay. Unless there was a jump on the Epstein list, right?
Well, okay,
but maybe he knows something we don't.
Donald Trump is on the Epstein list. Come on, like, who are we kidding? He hung out with Epstein all the time, right? So he is part of the deep state, if that's who you're saying the deep state is. But the second quote that he included there was no break in the quote. He said, the enemy within is the Pelosi's, and we should use the military to lock him up. There was no break in that one. So it's hard to say, like, oh,
Biden
he's saying
just
that the enemy
we should
within
lock
is somebody
up Trump.
else.
The standing president just said we should lock up Trump. Okay, it's a double standard.
He tried to backtrack it. He's senile, so I think
that's okay. As long as our dictator's senile, it's okay if he kills people.
Killing people? He's not talking about killing anybody.
Or just locking up his political opponents and weaponizing the DOJ.
Thank
It's
you,
okay.
everyone. It's been a great night. Someone's got to cut us
Been a
off here.
terrifying night.
Could you
Oh,
imagine how
man.
bad this podcast would be if Tom wasn't here to rein us in?
I'm excited to see how we do with our predictions in the election. So, but it sounds like we're all in agreement that Trump's going to win, and that's what's going to happen. But we'll see. But
Well,
I hope I'm wrong. I hope
expecting
we're all
fireworks.
wrong.
We'll see
I
how it
hope we're all
goes.
wrong.
everybody take a deep
I
breath.
hope Tom's
It's gonna be
right that there
okay.
are fireworks. I actually hope that. But thank you, everybody. We will wrap it up. All right, let me stop the recording. That's enough.
Good
That's
night.
it. We're done.
Josh, we may not always agree when it comes to politics, even though we're trying, but there is one thing we agree on. There is only one way to clean up after going to the bathroom, and that's with a Lux bidet.
I've been a proud owner of a Lux bidet for years. I have literally owned a Lux Neo 320 since 2013. That's the warm water model. Talk about happy, fun, poopy time. When I leave the bathroom, I know I'm clean and ready to talk politics in a civilized manner.
Exactly. Using a toilet without a bidet is about as uncivilized as it gets. Civil conversations demand civil hygiene practices.
And that is why our listeners should get themselves a Lux bidet.
And just to be clear, Lux is not supporting one side or the other in this podcast. They support civil conversations and clean butts.
Listeners can get their own Lux bidet with 10% off by ordering at luxbidet.com and using our promo code FCBG10, Finding Common Battlegrounds 10.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. The music is by Ben Sound. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and not those of their employers. For more information or more episodes, you can find us at findingcommonbattlegrounds.com.